So in this video I'm going to tell you why you should sell on Amazon and also in many ways why you shouldn't. So most people out there, they tend to tell you that having a steady job or a 9 to 5 is a horrible fate. It's like the last thing you ever would want for yourself. Now the reality is that having a steady job or steady income is actually a great way to get started. The problem is when that job doesn't cover the bills or just barely. So the ideal situation would basically be where you find a job, and whether that's going for a new job or ask for a raise, whatever it is, but you have to find a job that generates something called surplus income. So basically getting more money than you actually need. In technical terms, you would call it a positive cash flow. So assuming you now have something called positive cash flow or a surplus of money, then you may find that you have something you may not have had before, and that's a little thing called options. Now, unfortunately, when most people get more money, they tend to buy useless stuff. Now, with useless stuff, I don't mean that in and of themselves it's not a good thing to do, right? If you want a bigger car, buy a bigger car. Bigger house, buy a bigger house. More presents for the children, fine, buy more presents for the children. Go on holiday, also, fine by me. Right? They can generate a lot of great memories and they can be priceless, right? But if you look at it from a business perspective, this is something you call useless. And not useless because they're not worth anything, but useless because they don't generate more money for you. And that's what often happens. When people have more money, they, for instance, buy a bigger house, pay more mortgage, and again turn into that negative spiral where they get into that negative cash flow or shortage of money. Have to go back to their boss, ask for more money or work harder, more hours, so they can get a promotion or whatever they need. And again, the cycle repeats itself, right? Because then you need a bigger house because you're an executive now. And that is what I call the trap. It's fake happiness. It won't bring you more joy. That house you just bought is something you will never live in. That to me is what I call a bad decision. Now, some people do have the presence of mind to not spend their money on this useless stuff, right? So they tend to put their money in banks or have somebody invest it for them. Now, even though it's better than buying useless stuff, if you really think about it, like for instance, put it in a bank. I mean, if you look at the interest rates, it basically means that inflation itself will devaluate your money over time. So if you put in 10,000 now, in 30 years, that 10,000 may be worth, let's say, 8,000, because the interest rates are not that great. So your capital doesn't really grow in that time period. Having someone else invest your money means you lose control over what they do with that money. So the best thing you can do is, in my opinion, is invest your money and manage it yourself. Now you probably know there are countless options to choose from, right? Whether it's day trading, Bitcoin, affiliate marketing, and indeed e-commerce. Now the reason why I think you should start with e-commerce and specifically Amazon is because it's more accessible. So what makes Amazon so special? Now the first thing you need to realize is that Amazon, Etsy, Mercari, eBay, Walmart, they are platforms. They are not business models. Now I know it sounds super obvious when I say this, but you'd be surprised at how many times people mistake the two. The business model versus the platform. Which leads me to Amazon FBA. Now again, most people conflate the term Amazon FBA with an actual business model. As a matter of fact, FBA is more of a logistic model where Amazon fulfills your order, does first line support, and basically do all these tiny little things that will eat up a lot of your time, and they charge you a fee for it. And in general, it's like 15% of the revenue. Now the reason why this is so great and a great way to get started is because when most people get started on their e-commerce journey, they still have a day job and therefore limited time. So when you look at other e-commerce platforms, they tend to ask a bit more active involvement on your part. So whether that's bringing the shipment of your products to the local post office, or scheduling a pickup with UPS, to doing the support yourself. Again, something Amazon FBA does for you. But if I take like a specific example, say Shopify, most people use that platform for a dropshipping type of web shop, right? Now, the problem with dropshipping is not so much setting up the distribution or doing the support or getting the product to your customers. The biggest issue you will face is getting eyeballs to your products, because that requires some serious digital marketing skills, which is not something you'll have when you're just getting started. Now, as I've said in another video, you essentially have only two ways of selling online, or in general. You either sell an existing brand and its products, or you build your own brand and sell the products under your own name. Now, when you get started with e-commerce, the first option is the best way to get started. Not so much because the model itself is superior, but because it's the best way to get started and the best way to learn. Now, another reason why you should pick Amazon FBA as your model is because the Amazon Marketplace is a trusted marketplace where customers buy anything almost without a second thought, ranging from their groceries to a flat screen TV. And from my own experience and from what I can see, all the other platforms do not have this level of trust. And I cannot emphasize enough how important consumer trust in a platform is. Now, when you build your own brand and have the capital and the skill set to push your brand into the market, then selecting a marketplace or a platform to sell from, it basically becomes a matter of semantics, preference, or whatever you call it. You might not even need a platform anymore. As a matter of fact, the things that make Amazon FBA great for anyone getting started will become more of a negative, because by that point you don't want Amazon to control your customer's journey. You want to deal with returns, you want to deal with all the questions they may or may not have. You don't want Amazon to be a big controlling factor in that whole process anymore, because it's your brand. You want to control it. So again, when you're just getting started, pick Amazon FBA, build up knowledge and capital, and then when you're ready to build your own brand, then I would even say that Amazon itself is not the best platform anymore. It's better to create your own web platform and maybe select like 3 or 4 platforms to basically sell on. So there you have it. If you like the content we put out, then please leave a like and hit that subscribe button. It's down there. So again, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.